How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Therapy Without a Degree. We are here with two special guests. Actually, we have a special guest and a host, a co-host, like a guest co-host. It's like a whole title. We have Val as our guest co-host.
What's going on?
And we have
Giovanna.
Yes.
Would you let the audience know who you are? Because I know you do personal training. So, I know you do other things. What do you do?
I know. I do a little bit of everything.
I know, right?
My name's Giovanna, born and raised in New Jersey. I went to school at Rutgers University, studied political science and journalism. And once I graduated, I kind of got really into the modeling stuff. So I've been modeling for a little bit, around a year and a half professionally.
Okay.
Before that, I did a lot of e-com stuff with local businesses and everything like that, whatever I could do during school.
Right.
So when I moved back home closer to New York, that was like when I was able to take it more seriously with photographers in this area. Yeah. And I do personal training as well. I bartend as well. Just trying to figure it out. Going with the flow.
All right. That's awesome. So what brings you to the podcast today?
I'm just here for the experience. I'm here for the talks. I'm here for the enlightenment.
All right. All right. Well, we do have a interesting topic today. It kind of goes in line with being a model and personal training.
Yeah.
Do you feel like women in particular are, I guess, using their body as more so do you think the only way to show people that you're feminine is showing off your body? Show that feminine energy. Do you feel like that's the only way to showcase femininity?
No, I don't think so. It's cool that you asked that question though too, because I recently got a deal with Playboy as well, and they're super they're all about sexual freedom, embracing femininity, and really just putting yourself out there and not being afraid of being who you are, right, regardless of social norms and all that stuff. And I had to kind of explain what sexual freedom was to me, and femininity, it goes hand in hand. And to me, it's more so about your expression. It could be through anything. It could be through art. I love to express through art as well. And that's why I was looking at your paintings. And so it's you can connect with one idea and embrace it and project it and in an art form. I don't think it just has to be showing off your body. I feel like being at the gym and being healthy and working on yourself, I feel like that's a confidence thing. And I feel like that can help so much when it comes to femininity and embracing who you are. I think all shapes and sizes in their own way are beautiful and can embrace femininity in their own way. You don't necessarily have to look a certain way like social media may depict and tell you. I don't think you need not that I think. I know you don't need to you don't need to look a certain way, even though society might tell you otherwise. Right. So I think being at the gym and working out and doing what you feel is healthy for you internally and externally, I think that can help. I think it helps me. It helps my confidence, my self-esteem, which therefore helps me embrace my femininity and express my femininity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like maybe that's not showcased as much? Because I feel like it's a little bit skewed on the masses level. Because I follow people who are painters, and I follow singers, and I follow poets. So there's different versions and whatnot. Yeah. But there's nothing defined in terms of what we concentrate on how do you think that like may affect someone's like mental health? It's like all I see is this, so that means that in order for me to feel feminine and comfortable in my skin, I need to like show my body.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll have to show my body while I do the artwork, or show my body while I do some poetry. You know, like do you feel like maybe we could move away from that, or like what needs to change?
I feel like we can, and I feel like this has been something that I've been experimenting with as well, because I feel like in this day and age with social media, everybody falls victim to these things. It's not like anybody is completely immune to these things and feeling these types of ways. It's almost impossible to ingest all this kind of external media, and that is supposed to depict who you're supposed to be, and not feel a certain way about it. When you're alone, it's just you, me, myself, and I.
Right.
Sometimes, your brain starts running sometimes, and these thoughts come in. So, it's happened to me as well. It's not always a high. You have your highs and your lows.
Right.
And you go through it. And it's like, you just have to find what it is that speaks to you and makes you feel good about yourself, and being like, turn everything else off, turn everybody else's opinions off. Expectations. Yeah. Just, you gotta like create that boundary and turn it off, because that's the biggest thing for me is like, I've been even taking a break from social media too, and just kind of like, if I need to post something, I'll post it just because, it's what I need to do model wise, like with my career. But I try and filter as much as possible when it comes to what I ingest through social media or any kind of media in general.
Right.
Who I follow, what is coming up on my feed. I don't like to see anything that's overly saturated with fakeness and unrealistic expectations, really.
Right. And what if you were to like, I guess, describe that for the listeners, what would that be that's kind of unrealistic without saying any names or anything?
Yeah.
I'll say it,
nice
maybe
way.
you could agree with me. It's like anything BBL related, or just like, because people go through body dysmorphia. It's a thing. So like, people look in the mirror like, that's not enough, So sometimes people, they see that like, oh, maybe I need to do that, to get a little, have some shape and whatnot. Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what you've been seeing. I don't know.
No, and I feel that heavy about like even body dysmorphia and stuff. It's like, I've gone through my own kind of things, and I question it too sometimes, where I'm just like, I'm healthy, I go to the gym, I do whatever I got to do, but sometimes I'm like, I don't feel right. It's the validation sometimes that others make you feel like you need validation when you don't.
Right.
I do think that I'm all for anybody. If you want to augment your body in any kind of way, I'm totally for it. Like, if that's what you want to do,
right,
I have no problem with it. But when it's overly, again, the oversaturation on social media, and people aren't being truthful about it or going upon it in a healthy manner, that's when it can start to affect people, especially younger people, when they don't really know the difference between, is this real or is this fake?
Right.
And if you're smart enough, you'll know. You'll recognize it when you see it, and you just say, you know what, I am who I am. I'm comfortable with my body and who I am internally, externally, everything. Good for you. It's great. It's amazing if you feel great about your body. Whatever, that's awesome.
So body dysmorphia is like someone getting a lot of work done, or maybe they like lost over 150 pounds, but they look at the mirror and they still see themselves that way. There's no like fixing or unfixing that unless you do the mental work. So as far as that, like, let's say there's a lot of people out there that look for sexual exploitation as a way to gain confidence within themselves, but at the same time they have this like double-edged sword of like, they cry because all they get is sexual requests on the DMs. So as a woman, especially as a model, have you ever dealt with that?
Yeah.
And how do you like mentally like handle that?
I think you got to have some tough skin, to be honest, because sometimes it doesn't feel great. And especially growing up, especially in high school, I feel like I was going through this a lot, where I was just constantly being looked at as like an object. Yeah. You get it. You get it. And that was something that I kind of had to deal with on my own. Like, for a while, I thought it was me. Like, why does everybody look at me like why don't people want to get to know me first and who I am? But they look at me like it doesn't feel good. It really doesn't. It's overhyped. It's like, it shouldn't be. It's not even just me. It's women everywhere, where they can walk outside and they're just being catcalled out. They're being just bad. Like, it's not cute.
I did photo shoots with a lot of models in the
It's
city,
not cute.
and I was like, this is weird because I'm walking with them.
It's
I'm
not
just
cute.
like, it's not.
It's not.
It never was.
It's uncomfortable. It's
Right.
uncomfortable. And I never understood that either. I'm like, what?
What did you think was gonna happen? Like,
Literally.
you just entertained the idea. It's like, oh yeah, thank you for calling me over, and let's have a whole like casual conversation now. And then it's just like, and I watched one video that was like that, but she was like acting super weird on purpose, and it was the funniest video ever because the guy was like, I'm actually not into that. It's like, oh well, this is what you're here for.
Yeah. And it's funny you actually mentioned that, because I do feel like sometimes if you don't keep it under control, you don't create those boundaries with some people to be like, listen, back up, or treat me with respect before you do all that. Because it can get to a point. There's really like messed up people out there. And I've been in situations where I've been followed, I've been stalked, I've been like,
harassed.
yeah.
Wow.
And
I'm
it can
glad
get
you're
to
safe.
that point. Me too. Honestly, me too. But it can get to that point. It's like, you need to really have, and this is where the tough skin comes in, where it's like, you can't control other people's actions and how they're going to talk to you, how they're going to look at you. That has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the person receiving those actions. Right. It has everything to do with that person that is giving that off. And so you have to be like, no, like, if you have to come off a little mean, if you have to come off a little aggressive to protect yourself, so be it. Like, you want to act like that?
You definitely have a pepper spray in hand. I feel that.
It's on my, you saw it? It was like,
So like, out of all of these endeavors, like, which one did you touch first? Straight out of high school, did you always have like working out in your regiment? Was modeling first? Pageantry? Like, what got you into modeling?
So, I've always been an athlete all my life. So growing up, I played like every sport. I played basketball, I played soccer, I played baseball. I actually played Little League with boys.
Oh, sweet.
I grew up a tomboy.
Okay.
And then, so I actually moved in high school, or like right before high school, and that's when I transitioned to softball. And I stuck with soccer and softball. And when I went to college, I was like not really about that. I was like, I don't really, it's cool, but like I don't see myself going like far with this. Like, it's just not a passion of mine. So that's when I kind of transitioned to learning how to work out at the gym, because I needed something. Like, I never was not active like my entire life. And so I think just the habit of doing that kind of led me to my journey with personal training and with working out and stuff like that. So that was actually pretty recent, the personal training, but it's always been in my life. Like, it's always been there. And then with modeling was a little tough because I didn't have anybody to really like guide me. So this has been a journey that I've been taking every single day through things that I learn, with no one else really holding my hand, telling me like, this is what you have to do. This is where to go. This is what to do next. It's a lot of research. It's a lot of reaching out to people on Instagram or like social media or whatever, and being like, hey, can you just give me any advice? The amount of times I did that, like, but a lot of people gatekeep in this industry as well, but just another
that's a
whole
other, I already know how that is.
So, but this is what, like, the journey of like figuring this out on your own, it's tough. And so it's a little bit slower, but that's why professionally I've only been really doing it for a little over a year. But I was like, dabbling in it in college. And then in high school, I really didn't even know what to do. I always knew I wanted to do it. I just like did not know what my first step was going to be at all. I didn't have anybody to tell me. And I grew up in a small town. So it's like no one around me is really doing that. So I can't even talk to people who have a similar interest in what I'm doing. It's hard to navigate this kind of industry when you don't really have people like that. Now I do. I found my people, and it's still
I feel like this whole like journey was like peeling off like a snake, how it peels off a skin.
Yeah.
And then you applied yourself with a new skin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like you went through that because you had to like get out of the expectations that probably people knowing you since they saw you grow up.
Yeah.
Like expected you to be.
Yeah.
You had to like really be like, no, this is what I want to do. Whether your family liked it, whether anyone was down for it or not. Like you just said it, like you didn't have an agent or a manager, you just figured it out on your own.
Yeah.
So it was very empowering. It sounds like.
That's so sweet.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's true though. That is really true. In terms of expectations, there's definitely people, sometimes even the people closest to you that don't really approve or they're not very fond of like what I do or whatever. But honestly, it comes within, it's been so long to a point that it's like, if it's still in my soul, if this is something that's still nagging at me, it's like a little fire in my soul. Like I know this is something that I want to do. And it's like the ability to have that creative expression and to be able to work through that in modeling is exactly like what it is. It's not about showing off. It's not about any of that. That's what people don't understand. I'm like, this is a creative outlet for me. I've always been into the arts. I've always loved music. I've always loved art, like paintings or anything like that. I've always did. Yeah. And so this is a way for me to express myself. And if people don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. But it's to a point where it's like, this is what I'm going to do. And it's my energy. It's my time. It's my money being put into this. You don't really have a say in it. Like, and if I fail, I failed, but at least I tried. That was the biggest thing for me too, is like
bouncing back.
You have all these, like, of course you're going to worry about, I'm low-key people pleaser. Like, I'm trying to get over that. And it's like, you want to make everybody happy. You want everybody to see you in this, like, really amazing way, like, this perfect way. But at the end of the day, sometimes that doesn't make you happy. And it's like, your soul like craves for certain things, whether or not somebody else agrees with it or not. So that's how it kind of how it happened for me. And it's like, I filter out the people that don't really want to be by my side, and that's okay. That's God. That's the universe. Just, right. We're on two different paths. I'm on a path that maybe God knows that you can't be by my side, because where I'm going, where you're going is different.
Right. So if you're a model starting up and you're literally going through that, you just have to like not be around that energy. No. Not even if it's your family.
Honestly.
Just for a little bit.
Just for a little bit while I'm trying, because there's a lot going on in here as well. And that's what people don't understand as well. It's like I'm battling my own demons as well. And I'm like dealing with all these expectations that other people are supposed to, or that they do have on me. I'm dealing with that and trying to like create a positive image for myself and my brand. That's the biggest thing for me too, is like I want to have a strong image, a positive image. Especially for women, especially when it comes to like sexual freedom, when it comes to femininity and stuff like that. I want women to be able to embrace that. I want to be that person to have that pedestal, to be like, this is what you can do. This is how you can feel. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to be free. It's okay to like express yourself the way that you want to express yourself. And nobody needs to tell you otherwise. And it's a tough journey, but you figure out who your people are, you figure out what your path is, and it'll lead to the right thing.
And you figure out like what your stamp in the industry is.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that there's so many models around here that they have their own like stamp, their signature, like Tyra Banks with the eyes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. But yeah, you have to have something that's like kind of like unique about you, whether it be like a feature, like a physical feature, or like something that you do, some kind of work that you do, something that
like he's a photographer, and one of his models, like, she's very into dark, morbid stuff, and I like it. What's her name? Cypress.
Yeah,
her name too. It's cool.
Yeah. So
like that.
she's like very alt. It's like an alt model and whatnot. So when I started, I actually wanted to shoot like suicide girls and have my own magazine that like was like the kind of like the competitor for it, but then I dug a little more deeper into it, and it wasn't like a good group to be a part of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't. So you would like, I thought it was originally run by like a woman. It was like a woman-owned business with like all these tattooed models, but it actually wasn't. She was just like the face of it, and so they weren't treated well. They weren't getting paid enough. I was like, oh man, so let me just do something on my own, and I started doing a lot of like just weird shoots, kind of like that one, like that. When I dropped that picture, people thought like I killed a squid just to do the shoot. I was like, no, we went to get it frozen, and it was already like dead already, so it's not us. And we made the best of it and whatnot, and it was dope. And my friend who did the makeup as well, her name is Cassandra. She did like the serial killer shoot. So the model herself, she came up with a shoot where she wanted to do something with cereal, but something dark. And all I did was just pick the cereal, which is Fruit Loops. So like we had like a nice collaborative process, and then we just made it come to light. But it's always great to collectively work together and like network. Like, and I know you mentioned you people were like gatekeeping in the industry. Do you feel like that's something that you can break through? Because a lot of people, they stop and they don't know how to get around that. Like how have you worked around people who gatekeep?
Keep pushing. Just keep it pushing. You know, like,
what's gatekeeping, by the way, to the person who's not in the model?
So gatekeeping is it doesn't necessarily have to be just modeling world. Like, say for example, you're like, hey man, that was a dope location. Like, where'd you shoot that? And they don't tell you.
Oh
yeah. It's like, so pretty much like if I'm a beginner model and I'm starting out, and I'm reaching out to people who have been in the industry and have more experience than I do. I reach out to them and I'm like, hey, can you like give me some information? Anybody you know that I can like get in contact with? And they're like, yeah, they'll beat around the bush and like not really tell you how to get to the next step, because they don't really want to see you have the success that they want. So it's, in this industry, I feel like a lot of people are going after the same thing.
Yeah.
So, which is what exactly?
Yeah, exactly. So instead of like sharing this information and helping each other out, people keep it to themselves because they want. It's kind of like a greed thing. And it happens, unfortunately. But the way that I kind of get around it and get through it, finding your people, that's the biggest thing. Your biggest a support system in this industry is like key. It's number one.
Right.
And especially coming from somebody who did not have anything. I didn't have anybody really supporting me when it came to, not supporting me, but guiding me a little bit. Somebody
like
who's been through it. Exactly, yeah. I didn't. I had to find that. And so I feel like along your journey, the universe is going to put people in your path that are meant to be in your path.
Right.
And you need to be diligent enough to see the people who are genuine and want the best for you.
Right.
And the ones that want to take advantage or, seek profit off of you for their own benefit. So I believe having that support system is a really good way, because you get a good group of people by your side.
Right.
They'll introduce you to people they know. And then those people, if you talk to them, you have a good conversation with them. That's the biggest thing for me too, is like your first impression with them.
Right.
With other people. Create a lasting impression. Have a great conversation with them, exchange information, and you build that way. And you'll see like this tree of networking that comes. Like, it'll come eventually. It doesn't happen overnight, but you just got to keep, you'll know right away when you come into contact with people who aren't really like, who don't have your best interest in mind.
Right.
Yeah, and it's best to avoid them anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
And in the course of just kind of like working in the industry in terms of like personal training, how do you like motivate people to kind of go through it? Because have you worked with people that, you know, they book you for their time and then you don't see them again and you just fall off? Like, how do you get people to expand their expectations? Like,
I think the biggest thing for me, I'm a big visualizer.
okay. So
for me, like I have a vision board, everything. Like when I wake up, I see it on my wall. Like visualization for me is key. Same. Because you have to see, you have certain goals that you want. Let's say it's you want to go to Paris. You can keep a little trinket of an Eiffel Tower on your desk. Every day you're looking at that and it's reminding you of this is what I want. And you'll get there eventually. Like you'll get it. There's so many things on my vision board that I've done it. I do it every year, every other year, like depending on the length of time of my goals. But there's so many things that I've had on there that I've taken off because I've accomplished those things. And I believe it's because of the visualization process. And even through meditation, you can do it as well, the visualization. Believe that you already have it. Believe that you are that person already. And so that's how I kind of just explain it to clients, is that envision what you want yourself to look like. Envision what you want yourself, how you want yourself to feel. You'll get there eventually, but you have to keep at it. You need that diligence. You need the persistency and dedication. That dedication will outbeat any kind of talent any day. You need that, like that drive, that push to keep you going, because times will get tough. I think working out, strength training, anything like that, especially like losing weight, it's one of the hardest things you can do. I commend anybody who has like transformed their body, because it is not easy.
Oh, it's not.
It is not easy at all. So
just getting to the gym is already tough already.
Yeah.
Regardless of what your body may be, it's just like, I gotta do this again.
I know, and again,
and again. Right? And another question I had is just like, have you worked with someone who showed you like what they reference, and you just kind of just want to tell them like, that's not natural.
Yeah.
That's not realistic body goal. Like, how do you kind of tackle that? Because there's a lot of that out there that get the attention, but then it's like, but we didn't like physically work to get that body.
Yeah. I'm realistic. Honestly, I am. You got to be realistic with people sometimes. It's like, and everybody's genetics are different.
Right.
Also. And that's, that's a big thing as well. Some people will look at me and be like, how do you get that? How do you look like that? How do you do that? I'm like, well, I can show you what I know. I can give you those skills. I can teach you how to do this. And you will see results over time, but I cannot guarantee that you're going to look exactly like this, because everybody's genetics are different.
Right.
Everybody looks different. But we can work to get you to the closest possible figment of what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
So personal training came recently.
Recent.
You said that was this year.
Yeah.
So would you say that you working out prior to personal training was a little push for Playboy? How did Playboy get involved? Was it like after your intense workouts and after you kind of did the personal training, or was that before the personal training? This
was after. All this is pretty recent. Playboy's pretty recent as well.
So you were blessed like a domino effect. It sounds like, okay, girl. I'm not mad at it.
Me either. I'm like, keep it coming.
Right.
I do think that my lifestyle of kind of working out, I think it helps a lot. It does. Right. It goes hand in hand. It's part of what I do, and it's part of what keeps me motivated as well, because with the modeling, it's kind of like I need to maintain a certain figure. I need to look a certain way. I need to take care of my skin. I need to take care of like my image. So being at the gym is a huge motivator while I'm there. I think that's the biggest thing as well. It's also having a motivator. The goal, the visualization. Right. This is what I want. This is what I'm going to work towards, and I'm going to get it.
Period.
That's it. That's it.
There's no doubts talking to you. Because I know like imposter syndrome is something that we talk about as well in therapy without a degree. So there had to be an imposter syndrome battle that you had to overcome to get to your best version.
I still do.
Ooh.
I still do.
You
Yeah.
Care to share what that one of them may be? Because you don't have to, but it's just like if you were
if you feel comfortable,
pick one of the like comments like, yo, like this, like you need to be quiet because I'm working. You know.
I dealt a lot with that during school, actually.
Oh, school. Okay.
Yeah, during school, during college, I really dealt with that where I would work really hard for what I have, whether it be at the gym or my grades or anything like that. I pride myself on that because I feel like it has a lot to do with my work ethic. I maintained like a 3.7 during school. I was like, I was a double major. I had a minor. I was in the honors program, all this stuff. And I'm like,
you weren't missing a beat. You were on it.
No, on it.
Period.
And, you accomplish all these things, but at the end of the day, it's like, why do I still feel like I don't deserve these things? I feel like I don't deserve it. I feel like I didn't earn it. And I feel there's so many things. I feel like it stems from childhood a lot. Imposter syndrome. Yeah. About like not being, validated for the kinds of things, the good things that you do. And other people not making you feel like you're worthy of those things. Yeah. And I feel like that's where imposter syndrome comes from. As you grow older, you accomplish these things, you can have all these accolades, but at the end of the day, you still feel like unworthy. Like you weren't the one to accomplish, like, okay, what's next? Like, you don't give yourself that validation. And I do like still go through it in my own way sometimes. Not as much. I definitely did go through it in college.
But I feel like the way like you said it, like you remind yourself of the purpose. Yeah. You like retract. You go back to the vision board. Mm-hmm. You meditate. Yeah. You just try to get surrounded with what you're chasing. Yeah. Right. And just
I'm sorry. Go ahead. And sometimes that sometimes it's a lonely road. It's a lonely process sometimes. And I've had to deal with that. That's something I'm still going through, where it's like you feel like you're all alone in this journey. You feel like maybe it's me. And that's what we were talking about before too. But in this kind of, I think it's in any industry, but especially this industry, it's like you need all the focus you can get. Really. Within yourself. And there's a lot of people that can be that you can surround yourself with that are not on the same page or who do not understand the grind, the hustle. They don't get it. And so sometimes without even realizing, they'll kind of distract you, and like your focus can go one way and this way, and then sometimes it's too much. It's like I'm trying to balance my mental health, I'm trying to balance my physical health, I'm trying to balance getting my money, I'm trying to balance like my career. It's so many things to worry about. It can get so overwhelming up here, where if you have negative external stimuli happening, like negative social media, like negative people, there are like those energy vampire people that are around you and they will find you.
Come on now.
Without, sometimes you don't even realize at first. That's the hard part. Yeah. You can't have that. You can't have that. And sometimes you need to just filter that out, even though it's extreme. Sometimes it's difficult. It's lonely. That's what I'm saying. Like sometimes
we accept it because we're lonely.
Yeah.
We settle.
Yeah. Right. And that's the other thing too, is like settling, and you don't want to settle because you're bored or because you're that's another conversation. I'm like, how do I
that was great. I like that. Because that goes with straying away from your purpose. Because you kind of put your purpose is not the focus there. Your loneliness is. And because you're focused on the loneliness that your inner child has always had, you just go towards the distraction that makes you escape from what you don't want to think about.
It's like an escapist moment of like trying to distract yourself from the hard things that are going on, or especially internally, you don't want to face these things and you're just like, ugh.
Because it's painful.
Exactly. Especially when it comes to discovering your inner child. And you really, that's a lot of work. That is a lot of work that I don't think a lot of people do it. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Honestly, people don't even know where to start.
Right. That's where we hire a therapist and a counselor.
Right. And they're always going to go to your childhood. They always go to the beginning, because no matter what.
I've tried it with my friends, but then I trauma dump. You know, and we don't want to trauma dump with our friends. You know, we can trauma dump with therapists.
Yeah.
Right. Because they know where to put that.
They don't know where to put that. But their friends are going to be biased and they're going to be like, girl, you tripping, like whatever. And then
you should just chill out. And you just like, oh
yeah, I didn't think of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I keep forgetting.
Record,
just
Becky,
chill out.
Like,
yeah, I'm very selective with the things I tell to certain people, especially because, you know, if everybody's childhood is different, especially if you grew up in a very difficult household with difficult experiences. Sometimes it's like there's people that just won't understand. And therapy is a great thing. It's an amazing resource for people to have, and I recommend it for anybody, literally. I do feel like a lot of things stem from childhood, though, and to be able to go in it's not isolation, but I want to say it's not isolation. But when you do feel lonely, I feel like it's a perfect opportunity to create a better relationship with yourself, to learn yourself better, to go in deeper to the parts where you didn't go before. Because there's always parts, whether it be up here, in here, anywhere, there's always parts that are hidden, things you may not even remember.
Yeah.
I've done meditations before, like visualization exercises or anything like that, where you have to go back into your childhood and remember certain things, certain smells, certain colors, like your house, certain rooms, anything like that. And your brain starts to spew some memories that you suppressed a lot, especially growing up in a tough household or anything like that.
Right.
Those are the memories. Those are the all those sensory feelings that come up.
Right.
That's exactly what you need to feel, and people get so uncomfortable with that,
right?
Because it is uncomfortable,
right? Especially if it's like a angry trigger, and you be like, I don't even want to go through this again,
exactly,
because you forgot about it.
Yeah, because we go through that PTSD. We either fight, flight, escape. We have escapisms or coping mechanisms we use to escape for us to keep covering it up.
Yeah.
Right.
And then before we know it, there's this huge pile of mountain that we created
that you
because
keep
we just
ignoring.
kept rushing off and thinking, oh, you know, I've dealt with this way and it's worked out fine. I fucked it away. I drank it away and whatever.
Just keep running. And it's just like, it's not solving anything. And then it's only when you go back and you look, he's like, was it only that? Like, all I needed to do was really just come into terms and understand that you're not in control of everything. And the more you realize that you're not in control of everything, you'll be like, oh, okay, it's not, you know, maybe I should calm down. You know, it's just interesting that we distract ourselves with different things. And like, we go to places or we surround ourselves with people or we watch shows, but we never really sit down with ourselves and watch our own show.
Yes.
You know, because like I usually take my traumas and pain and I turn into like an art form, or like I turn into a character in a story, or I make a movie on it, just to kind of help me kind of cope with certain situations. And that's what I feel like is something that people aren't used to doing. Like, sometimes, like, all right, for example, this is your first time on the podcast, which is awesome that you're a little more open, right? No one will notice, right? But other people, they don't really talk to anybody, or they don't talk often. They usually just go to work and then they just go home, maybe talk to a few friends, and then that's it. So sometimes I forget that people don't talk as much. Me, when I started, I didn't talk as much, but I didn't realize I didn't talk as much until I started talking. And you're like, oh, wow. I was like, what was I doing? And you get so far into like the world and life that you'll be like 32 and you'll be like, damn, what did I do? You know, but then if you scale back, you'll be like, wait, maybe I did a lot. You know, it's like I just forgot to learn from it. You know, that's
What
something.
town are you
took
from, if you don't mind me asking?
Hasbrook Heights. Well, I grew up in Rutherford,
right,
and then I moved to Hasbrook Heights.
That's awesome. So Jersey,
Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl.
Yeah, I know that's right. No, so that's interesting. So you literally like were brought up there, and you just wanted to be a business owner. You didn't even want to.
100%. That's the way to go.
I love how you went to college and you did not allow your degree to define you. You weren't so fixated in boxing yourself into that. So like that must have been like a scary jump off the cliff situation as well.
It was.
Because, like, not for nothing, if I was your mother, like, girl, like, you just went to
What you
school
doing?
5 years, this degree, journalism, are you going to do something with it?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
your degree in journalism?
Journalism and political science.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you have the degree and it's like that you do something completely opposite.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people like that. It's like, yeah, I went to school for this, but I'm actually doing this.
Yeah. For me, okay, I have a bunch of interests. You should have seen, if you can't tell, you should have seen me trying to pick a major.
Oh,
I
God.
literally was like, do I do philosophy? Do I do psychology? Do I do journalism? That was a project in itself. But I chose what I love to talk about and what I was good at. Naturally, I've always like been writing.
I can see you do that, like being
Thank
like
you.
the little. She could be the one that does the weather on the news. Like, so we're having some sunshine over here, some clouds.
Something with TV. I need a camera.
something with, like, a whole, like it's her talk show or something, or she's like in radio, whatever. But you got.
I did the radio.
Yeah, you
actually.
did.
I did Rutgers Radio. Yeah.
Oh,
So
sweet.
it's funny you said that. Yeah. I was in Sex and the City.
What?
I did background work. I didn't know.
Is it like wouldn't the show or is it like a movie? Was it
It was the show.
the show?
It was the new show, which was a surreal experience as well because I like grow up kind of like watching the show.
right.
And
And
my
then
mom-
you're like,
and I'm like, oh my god, I'm talking to
Like she
SJ.
probably had the theme song in her
Sarah
head.
Jessica Parker. I know. I was in the
Right.
opening episode of the new season that came out, and it was such a surreal
That's
experience.
awesome.
I was like,
I can't only
Sarah
imagine
Jessica
the
Parker.
nostalgia. You're like, what is
Yeah.
happening?
I was talking to Sarah Jessica Parker about my heels. Actually, she was like, "You walked here," and I was like, "No." I brought sneakers in my bag right there.
I love that respect, though. Go ahead.
It was acting is something that I want to get into more. It's hard for me to like, again, the balance between everything. I'm like the modeling, the personal training, this. I'm like, oh
well,
God.
you're in luck.
God, yeah.
Yeah, I can see her in a CoverGirl infomercial or some Maybelline.
We're manifesting
Manifest.
right now. Put it on video right now.
That's right.
So yeah, I'm dabbling with a bunch of different things. And then back to the question about graduating with degrees and stuff. COVID changed a lot for me. And I think without COVID, my path would have been completely different, to be honest. So this happened when I was a junior. This was 2020. And I was actually studying abroad in Italy. And yeah. And that I was there for 3 weeks. I was supposed to be there for like 7 months. I have family there too, so I was gonna like study, go see my family for a little bit, travel around, backpack. I was with like 3 other friends from school too, so it was gonna be. We planned it. Like I'm telling you, for like 3 years before this, I knew I wanted to do this. I love to travel, and that was like my number one thing. So I planned like my 4 years, like exactly how it was supposed to be, my courses, everything, so that I can do this.
Wow.
And
Good for you.
when I tell scholarship, I was applying to scholarships like crazy. It was expensive. And so I worked a lot to get to that point. And then when I get there, everything's good. Everything's chilling. 3 weeks later, it's like COVID happens. And I'm like, this is my worst nightmare coming true right now.
And you're like in Italy.
In Italy.
Wow. That must have been super
I experienced COVID twice, like the breakout of COVID twice in 2 different countries, which was interesting to see. Yeah, we were watching. I remember like being in the little piazza, like the center where everybody hangs out, and like we're watching Trump's speech about him closing the borders, and we're like in Italy, and I'm like,
He said, "I'm sorry, what?"
I gotta go home. Like I gotta go home. Yeah, it
I
was
can only imagine airports were like wilding out, just
over there.
I would
Over
legitimately
there.
cried.
When I landed here, it wasn't here yet.
Oh,
no.
So you had news way before.
I say y'all have no idea what the what's coming. Yeah,
No, you good.
Yeah, I was actually like the only one wearing a mask, like landing in Newark, because everybody thought it was like BS. Everybody thought it was BS here. I came back to some of my friends at school. They were like going to spring break in Miami, and I was like,
Oh yeah, but
Just
it was a
wait.
hot spot. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the club shut down like a couple days later. But
Right.
I thought it was BS too. I was like, I used to get mad seeing my family walk in with masks in the apartment. I used to be like, why you guys have the mask on? Like, that's
Yeah.
OD. Like,
Yeah.
and they're like,
It was-
yo.
Yeah,
it's
nobody took it
serious.
seriously until they started like shutting things down, and you just
Yeah.
like, what the fuck am I gonna
I
do?
know.
Right.
And I was just working out and just posting it on Instagram. This was before I was consistent with it. And then people were like, yo, you got big. I'm like, that's all I did.
Yeah.
I just worked out.
I did too. I'm blessed because I met somebody at school, one of my friends, like right kind of before, like the semester before COVID. And he has his own little makeshift gym in his garage with
Right.
like a rack of dumbbells, like a pull down machine, some like cables, whatever. Everything you like kind of need, nothing
Right.
crazy. Couple machines and dumbbells. Thank God, because I would have went insane.
Right,
Like
going to
I
the
was
gym.
there every day.
Mhm.
And that was also where this whole fitness journey started, was because I was at that gym every day during COVID for like 2.5 years.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I was like the only woman there too. Like he ended up turning into like some kind of business too. Like where other people were finding out about it.
It's like a speakeasy,
Yeah.
but for gyms and shit.
And they were like, oh, you got a gym? Like, let me come real quick. And he was like, you know what? $40 a pop.
That sounds like a whole ass skit. That's damn near LA Fitness.
Literally, he could do it though because like supply and demand.
That was smart. You could have
And-
priced it up at that point.
I know. And so a lot of people were coming in and out, but a lot of them were men, and a lot of them competed. So it was amazing to be able to have that experience because I learned how to really lift weights and work out from the guys that I was working out with in the gym.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's where I learned a lot of my the knowledge I have with the gym. I learned it in that little garage. So thank God, blessed with that.
Humble beginnings.
Yeah, humble beginnings. But COVID, I ended up coming back home, and then for those 2 years, that year and a half, it was so tough. Like mentally, I was taking like I was taking classes for a semester, like in a completely different language. I was like taking that the whole semester, which was like extra stress, and then I came home. So it was still another year and a half of just like nothing, and it was like really tough on me mentally to have something that you worked really hard for just like ripped out.
Yeah.
And then I got screwed like financially too. Like the institutions, like college institutions, did not really help at all during COVID. Like we were getting charged like full tuition for online classes that like no professor knew how to program correctly. Like
so it's just like
I was teaching myself. I was
Right.
teaching myself college courses. Yeah, literally. And it sucked. Like it actually sucked. I learned so many lessons during that time frame, and one of them was like, don't be too hasty with your plans. I'm a big planner. I love to plan. I'm organized. Like I love to organize things. I love like all that. Like I planned that semester like 4 years in advance. And that was the biggest thing I learned as well, was like, you know what? Life happens.
Right.
You never know what's going to get thrown at you, and it can change like that.
Right.
And that's what COVID kind of taught me as well. And so to answer your question, the reason that I'm still interested in what I studied, 1,000%.
Hands down.
But for me, with COVID, I learned that life is short. Anything can happen. Do what you want to do when you want to do it, when you feel the time is right.
And just because you are pivoting does not mean that it's a failure.
No, absolutely not. And that was something I had to overcome as well, and be like, I'll come back to it if I want to come back to it. Like I can pick up. I was always thinking about law school as well. I was like,
You can still.
can still do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I would love to go back to. I love school. Like I really do. I can pick up and go back in 5 years from now, 10 years from now if I wanted to, and I have no problem. And now I can start a new career path. But at least with what I do now, especially with modeling and stuff, time isn't really on your side too much. So it's like the younger you are doing this, the better. The more flexible you are with your money, your time, your location. I can pick up and go anywhere and be like, if somebody in Miami wants me, or LA, I'd be like, you know what? All right, I could do it right now. If I had a 9-to-5 job, I absolutely
Wouldn't be
not. And I knew that. But nobody else around me really understood that. And so it was really hard to get that point across of like, listen, this is what I'm going to focus on right now because this is my passion or one of my passions. And I know what it's going to take, or I have an idea of what it's going to take for me to get there, the sacrifices that I need to make right now.
Correct.
And I'll show you, but give me some time. I'll show you. Just like support me and like, you know, believe me, and then I'll do it. And I'll show you. My mom really is like one of my biggest supporters, to be honest. Yeah.
That's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
It's amazing. Like, and that's what I was telling you before about having a really good support system,
Right.
like whether it be friends and family, it doesn't even matter. But I needed her support. I do need her support, honestly, because I am still living at home. But I'm consistently showing her that this is what I do. Like I do probably like 2 or 3 shoots every month. And sometimes they're not even in New York. Like sometimes I have to travel for them. And she sees that I'm working at it. And even like the things I do as side hustles, like personal training or bartending, like I'm hustling and I'm tired. Like I'm hustling right now. I got to do what I got to do. I'm taking care of my things. I'm taking care of me. I'm taking care of my money. I'm taking care of my career. Just trust me. You need that trust. You need somebody that's going to back you up, because it's very hard to get through really tough journeys like that in the beginning when you don't have people believing in you and seeing your vision.
Gem. That's a gunshot right
yeah,
there.
that's
Yeah.
dropping snippets.
Gunshot right there. Wow. You speaking to my life. That's true.
Yeah. I went through that phase too of just like dealing with a lot of BS from people, even the ones that are like closest to you. And it sucks. But
you know who your real ones are, right?
Yeah.
You know who your real ones are, and you surprise yourself the most in those times.
Yeah.
When you're at your lowest, you're crawling.
Yeah.
Like that's when we really surprise ourselves, and some of us are afraid of surprising ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we go back to what we knew or what we've known. Because I self-sabotage myself all the time. I can handle that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can't handle is me working so hard for a goal, so hard that once I get it, it gets taken away from me. So people would rather just stick with what they knew instead of chasing
The
their
fear
dreams.
of failure too. That was
Right,
huge.
right.
That was something I had to get over as well. And you do that by putting yourself out there and being comfortable in uncomfortable positions.
Right.
And that's an amazing way to kind of get over that fear of failure. Because your brain is literally creating new neural pathways when you put yourself in uncomfortable positions, things that are foreign, things that are new, things that you know nothing about. And that's why, like, even being here, like, this is something completely new to me, but it's like, it's a little, like, it's new. But it's creating new, it's creating new ways for you to progress in your future, like from here today and moving on in the future. So I think that's super important when it comes to getting over that fear of failure, because that can stop you from accomplishing a lot of things, a lot of amazing things, because everybody has potential for certain things, whatever it be. It could be painting, it could be modeling, it could be
Voiceover, it could be
whatever, anything. And you know it, your soul knows it. You have a purpose. It's like your journey in this life is finding your soul purpose. Have you read The Alchemist?
No, I haven't.
Everybody
read
keeps
that
mentioning
one.
that. That's
Read
like
that.
the
Yo, everybody's
50,000th
saying it's
time.
great.
I
It's
just
a
got
sign. Like, I'm telling you, I
Yeah.
have
I gotta write
I
it
just
down.
got the book
Alchemist.
called The
Serious?
Calling, and I haven't started it yet. And it's supposed to kind of give you like a better
Oh, I don't know
sense.
that one.
Oh, that's a good one. One of my friends recommended it. It's called The
Yeah.
Call. I'll send it over because I just
Yeah.
got it. But I like to read a lot of business book and a lot of self-help books.
Me too.
And going through the self-help, you start to realize a lot about yourself that you sometimes ignored, or you're just like, damn, I thought I knew, but then it's like apparently I didn't know. But one of what I've learned is just kind of when like connecting with people, especially networking, it's always good to just ask people like, how can I help you? And then call it that, opposed to this is what it could do. If it doesn't apply to you, then whatever. But I found like the most effective way is really just ask. They could be like, hey man, I just need a ride here for like this week. Can you like help me out? as simple as that. And they might refer you to another client if you start talking about it. But it's just like, it's like simple stuff like that is like just helped. And then I guess what I learned was I wasn't giving a lot of compliments. Not that I didn't want to give any. It's just that it didn't come conditioned. So you could condition certain behaviors just to, I guess, better connect with others. But you just got to condition yourself. If you don't like try to do it, then it's never going to happen. Kind of like going to the gym for like the first 7 days. You're just like, oh man, I got to do this again. But after like 21 days, after a month, you start to just go. And now it's a lifestyle. It's a habit. And now you're like, this is what I do. You know, it's not work anymore. Yep.
It's actually amazing what like consistency, persistency, dedication can do.
Right.
Without you even realizing it sometimes. It can be with anything. It can be meditation. Meditation's a skill, something that I have my ups and downs with as well.
Me too.
Yeah, no, it's never. Okay, I don't want to say never, but like, it's hard to be consistent with it because your brain is so like hyperactive. All the time.
I'm a super random person, so like one day I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to meditate, and Joe was literally cracking up because I was literally trying to meditate. Mind you, I have ADHD, so that's like impossible for someone like me. But I was like, literally, he walked in and he was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
had the Zen music on, the incense going.
Oh my god, I do too. My mom, my sister will sometimes open the door, like creak it open. I'm like, get out, just get out, just get out. You're interrupting my 10 minutes that I wanted to myself.
Yeah. 10 minutes.
Literally, I started like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and then when it's 10, it gets easier the more that you like do it.
Because it's a skill. It's something you work on over time, and you get better at it over time. It's like anything else, working out. You're working on your brain. Your brain is a muscle. It's just like anything else, right?
Right.
Even when I go to the gym, I do like the sound bowls.
Oh yeah, singing bowls. Yeah.
God.
You ever notice that anytime you try to have time for yourself, the world wants to be more distracting than it was like before you even started it? Like the moment you want to meditate, then everybody in the world just needs you for some reason, and you just, what is going on right now? I feel like that's the true test because it's always there. It's just that we just have to learn how to ignore it.
That's God testing you,
right? It's a true test. You're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, the phone, or oh, I have a great job opportunity. You're just like, I can't answer that right now, but in your brain, you're like, you should answer it right now. You should answer it right now. It's like, no, I need to focus on this.
Yeah. And you know, I just discovered Do Not Disturb on my phone.
That's
but
awesome.
I did, like, I knew it was just always there, but I never realized the amazing effects of having it on my phone, because I feel like for me personally, I'm very sensitive to a lot of things. Like, I just emotionally, energetically, like I feel a lot of things. Like if somebody else is in pain and you're crying to me about something, like I'm gonna feel that. Like I feel.
So you're empathetic.
Yes. So when it came to my phone, I get extremely overwhelmed by my phone, especially when there's so many people trying. Like if sometimes I'm telling you, I'm like a ping, 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 ping. I'm just.
Oh, you have it with the sound on. Oh,
I did.
yeah.
I did.
I have vibration.
I did until I discovered, and even those like. There's science behind it about like colors and how they impact like green, red, yellow, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And how red is a very like urgent. It's urgent. It's important.
You need to open me.
You need to open me now. And you know those red dots on the corner of all your apps. It's like triggering for me in a way because I'm like hyper aware of these things and I want to get rid of it.
I'm
that type of person that like I'll go through my emails all the time just to get rid of
the highlights turn dark.
Yeah. I refuse.
That's
I
my
refuse.
OCD.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh man,
I swear to God, I'm probably diagnosed. I'm undiagnosed, but I'm diagnosing myself with OCD. That's the type of person I am.
I thought it was just me. I was just like,
me.
oh, fucking new message.
Fuck. Yeah.
Jersey media. Oh, God.
Yeah. So, and then I discover the Do Not Disturb, and it takes away those red dots, those red.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh wow!
Let me put you on.
Let me put you on.
Yeah,
I knew about screen time and how like you can like limit.
Oh yeah,
like,
I do that too.
Controls like if you're always consuming content, like you stated earlier, you want to limit yourself. You can literally set it to like kick you out of that app for a certain duration of hours if you set it to that. And like I literally told Joe about it, and Joe was like, "What's the big deal? Like, why do we gotta check our phone screens? Because we run media, but sometimes when we're not running media, we don't have to be on our phones.
Your life is so much
really
different when it's on.
And he hates when I say that to
way
him,
more
but it's
present.
the truth.
Yeah, right.
You're so much more present when like you don't have all this
people just
bullshit. I don't even know.
That's damn near work twice.
And then sometimes, like, as millennials, I have to, I put myself on check. We have our phones always on our hands. Yeah. Why?
Yeah,
we're not doing.
Try to leave the house without your
separation
phone.
Anxiety with it. Yeah.
Yo, it's serious. Like I've checked Joe on it so many times. I'm like, I'm gonna turn off the screen because the screen stays on for no reason.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you texting anyone? No. Calls? No. Okay, cool. Lock. Then I take it away from his hand and I put it like on the dash or something. I'm like, he's like, but why? I'm like, because why do you need to hold it?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? What's this stigma? Like, for real.
It's like an anxiety thing. It's like you always gotta it's that instant gratification of like, something pops up, you look at it, oh, okay.
Right. I can literally just go to my car and it's in my house. And then I'm just like, I feel like something's missing. Like my keys could literally be on the other side of the world.
It's a part of you, right. Literally.
Well, my wallet too, it could be lost. But
I
won't have the same anxiety.
Fuck the wallet.
I'll be like,
oh no, my keys.
I'll replace the cards, it's okay.
Right.
My shit. But my phone,
but let it be the phone. You're like, oh my God,
it's
the
so
world.
True. It's so true.
Somebody's hitting me up right now. Go, no notification, no one.
Yeah,
absolutely
so
no
true.
one.
And it's affected a lot when it comes to presence. And that's something I'm even reading about a lot right now. I'm reading Becoming Supernatural, Joe Dispenza. Do you know Joe Dispenza?
Another gem book. I love it.
Yeah, we're just gonna have a list of books on this link.
That's literally the last question we asked, but we don't even have to ask it.
Yeah,
This is a book recommendation. This is a book. What?
I got a bunch. I love reading all these things. And Joe Dispenza is huge on presence and just being where you are right now. The moment you wake up in the morning and you're looking at your phone, you're automatically diverting your attention to either the past or the future. The past you're bringing up, like let's say you have somebody, your boss. Let's say it's your boss that you don't like and you have a bad relationship with this person. And you're thinking as soon as you wake up and you're like, oh, I got to go to work and I got to deal with this person. I got to like deal with this. And like as soon as you see them in the office, it kind of like triggers you and now you're in a bad mood. It's like you're diverting your attention and your energy to something that's in the past or something that's in the future that you're already worrying about, but yet you're not really
present.
You're not present. Instead of like maybe stretching or doing some yoga or like trying to, wake your body up and wake your mind up in the morning, you're worried about what your boss is going to be doing or like what you're going to say to your boss when you walk into the office. And it's the same thing as the anxiety of the future and not really or knowing being scared of the unknown.
That's what I told like Joe. I was like, I feel like you work a lot. And we're workaholics, so why don't you like do something for you, And he's like, what should I do? I was like, I don't know, what you always wanted to do. He's like, I always wanted to learn bachata. I was like, all right, there you go to fucking bachata classes, man. Like, that's awesome. He started doing bachata classes, and now he has his little fun or whatever.
Yeah, awesome.
It's like a little way for Joe to like have his time.
You learn new skills.
I like drawing. Awesome. I like writing stories, and like taking pictures. Like probably the least things that I like doing. Yeah, which is like that. This is what I do for like work and like cool stuff and whatnot. But like what I really like doing is like working with my hands and like just creating stuff. Mm-hmm. And I found myself like, why do I feel like I'm like empty? Because I wasn't doing what I loved in the beginning, like that before any of this and the movies, and I was doing that. I would go to work and then do that because I didn't have to worry about social media. I didn't have to worry about like contacting this person for work or nothing. I just did what made me happy. Yeah. And then the more I started doing this, I was like, I wasn't doing what made me happy. Mm-hmm. And I took that energy and I thought that this made me happy, but it wasn't. And I was like, oh wow, maybe I should go back to that. And then I started to fill in that void. This is what you like doing, so keep doing it.
Yeah. And that comes I feel like that's amazing actually though. Like when you're to yourself, like let's say you're not really dating anybody, you're not seeing anybody, you kind of like feel that loneliness. That's like an amazing opportunity to fill that space with new skills and learning something that you're interested in. Right. Like bachata or something like that. Right. I took salsa classes too, so I feel that was awesome. Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to get at like working on the relationship with yourself and especially doing it on your own and like having the courage to like take yourself out of the house and trying something new that you've never done before. Right. I think it's like a really pivotal moment in your life and being like, I could do this. Like, I have control over my actions. I have control over my future. I have control over, what I want for myself.
Right.
And it's a really that's strong, It's cool to be able to like develop as a human being with different skills and like doing things that make your heart and your soul happy.
Right.
And so even, like working on the relationship with yourself, like instead of being on my phone and procrastinating and like scrolling through social media, you start for 10 minutes and now all of a sudden you're on it for an hour and a half. And it's like
an hour gone.
I could have painted a whole picture.
Right.
Or I could have read 2 chapters of a book.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so feeding your brain and your mind with information that is beneficial to you, or what's gonna make you happy, what's gonna make you feel good, what's gonna make you feel like you did something today. Because I do that sometimes too with the procrastination on my phone. Like if I'm procrastinating, I will just avoid it as much as I can.
Yeah.
And I've spent a lot of time alone. I enjoy my own company. I enjoy the peace. I enjoy the quietness. But sometimes at the end of the day, I'll feel more depleted than anything. And it's like, why do I have all this time to myself, yet I still feel like my battery is still low. And it's because sometimes as human beings, we kind of use other external instant gratification stimuli that
will validate that feeling
in that moment,
missing in that void.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of men.
So instead of looking for external validation, your accomplishes as a validation, because then you'll feel depleted on days where you're not accomplishing at your best. Yeah. So to compensate and balance for that, you want to have that self-personal time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, right, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of men, they play a lot of Call of Duty and like shooter games and whatnot, because they don't get that. Sometimes they don't get that at work. So you win, like your team won or you won or whatnot. That's the gratification. Yeah. So they might not be on their phone. They might be playing games. It could be any form where like anytime they win, they feel good and they're going to do more of that. So that's really, like, if you read the book Hooked, that book will change your life. Yeah. You'll look at your phone so much differently than you'll ever did in your entire life. Because most of the stuff you said in terms of colors, the little dots and whatnot, if you take all that away and close your eyes, all you're doing is this. It's less about the icons, it's more about the motion. Yep. So if anybody sees you, especially like my grandma caught me like texting one time and she was looking at me like, oh, what are you doing? To her, I'm just doing this. So it looks weird when people are just looking at you and then you just on a bus or a train and everybody's just like scrolling here and just staring at their phone. It's just like, that's odd behavior. Usually people would talk to each other and communicate and exchange ideas. Yeah. So like we could still exchange ideas via the phone, but like innately we're supposed to actually verbally talk, and like communicate and interact with each other. So it's just interesting as time goes by where like we're starting to teeter off and do more things that are live because I guess we're bored. And like, damn, this is not fun anymore. You know what's fun? Going out. Yeah. That's fun. Yeah. And not for the pictures of it or the trend of it. Just to be in the moment. Right. I really want to stress that because we always have to post everything. It's like sometimes it's like, yo, just be in the moment. Right. Like stop looking through the phone at the event and just look at the event itself. Yeah. Stop trying to create FOMO. Okay. Right. Who are we trying to be here?
No, I feel that. Even when I travel too, I'll put away my phone. I'll tell people who I need to tell. I'm like, I'm going away for like a month. Like, if you really need me, let me know. But like, I off the grid, like off, and I'll like keep memories for myself. But I try and stay as present as possible because traveling for me is a way to re-energize myself, and I know that. And it's an opportunity. Blessed to have any opportunity that anywhere I go. And so I try and take all that in. And I do feel like the phone is a huge distractor, especially when you're in places where you don't necessarily need to be on it. Yeah. Right. Even at dinner, like one of my biggest pet peeves it's not probably, it is people when I'm out to dinner with them or something and they're just
on the phone. It's like, I'm not on a date with 3 people, 5 people, or just one person.
I hate that. I really do not like that. So it's a lack of presence. It's a lack of respect, to be honest. And people become so glued to it. It's kind of scary, actually. It is scary.
Right.
You have to have that, like, diligence to be like, you know, I'm put it down for a little. I'll check in 20, 30 minutes to see if anybody needs me, but, like, that's it. I don't need to look at it every time I had a pain. Like, you know, it's hard.
It's a habit.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, you want to break that. It's not a great habit to have. At least for me, it's not a great habit to have.
You want to have like a work hour experience with your phone if you do work with your phone, but then after that it's like leave it for personal after that. Like 5 to 7 hours on your phone. Try to spend the rest of the day not on your phone. You know, like pick up a new hobby. I don't know, figure it out.
It got like that. It got bad at like during COVID too, because my school turned online. So I was starting to really feel the effects of constantly, like for 13 hours a day sometimes, just like constantly on my laptop, watching lectures, writing papers, flipping through flashcards, whatever I had to do. And it was just like, it was causing me so much headache. This is where it started, really. And it just became such a, like, I don't even want to look at the screen anymore. Like, I really don't. And half of what I do, like half of the modeling stuff, like what I was telling you with social media, it's like, that's my portfolio, part of it. And so it's like, I have to keep that up to date, but I'm not really looking to, like, I try and engage as much as I can because engagement is important on social media.
Absolutely.
It's necessary to grow because, you know, between the algorithm and everything, it's like, it's hard to grow when you don't have like a platform already. They make it hard for newer people to kind of to get that exposure. So you do have to be active on it. And so that's why I do agree with you about, like, you know, having certain times and hours for work, if that's what you do. And a lot of it requires you to be on your phone. That's what you do. You have to do it. But, you know, definitely create that time for yourself and put it aside and be like, you know what, I'm going to cook dinner without having, you know, being on my phone, or I'm gonna read 2 chapters without looking at my phone or something like that. Create that, like, kind of space where you can decompress from that, like, all that radiation.
I like that.
We gotta get you back on again.
Yeah, she had
share some new books that you have.
Yeah.
But usually towards like the end of the show, we have people like share things that they want to shout out. It could be like 1 or 2 things. Like, what do you feel like is dope that you would love to shout out to people? Like, just to make people more aware of it.
Like,
it could be any. Like, it could be a show. It could be a book. It could be like a person.
Okay, Joe Dispenza.
I'm
gonna shout him out real quick. Joe Dispenza. I watch him a lot on YouTube, and he has he has a few different publications. Really opening my eyes to a lot of things when it comes to presence. Eckhart Tolle's another one who's really big on presence, the power of now.
Okay.
Really great. I think presence is the key to a lot of things. And you don't realize how distracted we are in today's society with all this stuff we've been talking about. You don't realize it until you become aware of these things.
Right.
And this is a process, like spirituality and, like, you know, feeding your soul and figuring out who you are internally, even externally. It's a process and it's a journey, and you have to learn. Don't pay attention too much to the end goal. Enjoy the journey of getting there. And if it's your purpose, if it's something you actually want to do, if it's something you actually believe that this is what I'm on this earth for,
right,
you'll enjoy the process of getting, because you're going to hit those obstacles. You're going to have your ups and downs.
Right.
It's inevitable. It will happen. Most people stop when they get to those obstacles and be like, oh, this is too hard. But those are the obstacles. Those are the times where you're going to grow the most, and you're going to learn new things in order to progress to the next level. So it's all about enjoying the process and riding the wave, really.
Val, what do you got?
I've been reading a book called Lighter by Young Pablo. He's Colombian. You know him? Exactly. He talks about not living in the past, letting go of the past and all of your syndromes, right? And stepping into your new self without having anything hold you back. So I like that. And then a show I'm going to shout out is Sweet Tooth Season 2. I watched the first season. It was great on Netflix. Check it out.
Oh,
the
that's
second
good to know.
Out. Right, you didn't
Good to
know.
know. No, I was supposed to watch it when it first dropped, but I heard mixed reviews on it, so I just didn't watch it.
Right.
But then the second season came out, and I was looking at the trailer. I was like, I kind of want to watch this
I didn't
show
even know
now.
that. I don't know that one.
Yeah, it's about like a animal hybrid
People are
human
giving
situation.
birth to hybrid animal babies. Like, say you had a baby, but now your child has like an antler, and you're like, what's going on? Or you'll give birth to like a half
and
like
like
alligator.
the human
like,
race is dying, and these hybrids can, with their blood, eventually save the human race. It's like fantasy and all that stuff and sci-fi, but it's pretty intense. Like, there's this one that's like the originator, the OO, and like we're still trying to figure out like, why is he so important? You know what I mean? So that keeps us hooked. We're like, yo, we want to know how were all of the hybrids made? Because it's connected to this guy, okay? But we don't know how, and so it just keeps you glued on the screen, and it teaches you like some real hardcore life lessons. Like, he was an orphan, he doesn't know who his mom and dad are, so you're dealing with identity crisis. You're dealing with a lot of realism. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome. I just started watching The Witcher too. It's more like fantasy.
Oh, that show is amazing.
Love The Witcher.
It's
The
like,
actor, I mean, I don't know his
Henry?
name, but
Henry Cavill.
The one that was in
The Witcher.
Superman, right?
Yeah, Henry Cavill.
yeah,
That's
that's why I'm here.
So I'm here for him. Yeah,
I was a big fan of The Witcher, but then in like the upcoming season, they were replacing him.
I heard that.
Yeah,
I heard that. I heard that. Now I'm upset.
Yeah,
But
everybody's upset.
I'm gonna still watch
they,
it though.
They showed like a sneak peek of him. He's like, I'm still watching.
It's the storyline for
I'm
her.
here. I'm here about Yesenia. That's what I'm here for.
yeah. Okay.
What about you, Zane?
For me, I'm gonna shout out. What did I see recently? Damn, I just saw it recently. Not too long. Oh, Beau is Afraid. Thus, it is a long movie. It's the newest movie with Joaquin Phoenix, but it is 3 hours long. But the whole premise of the movie is it's one of those movies where it's a ride that you only ride once, because that movie was so out of pocket in so many aspects that you just like, wow, that was one hell of a movie.
He's a phenomenal actor.
Oh, absolutely. He killed it from beginning to end.
What's the name of this?
Beau is Afraid.
And it's not international? It sounds like it's an international film.
It sounds like it is, but I mean, it could very well be international, but like the movie itself, it's just like he's afraid of like a lot of things. But like, you watch the movie, seeing it, are you watching it in his perspective or the audience's perspective? Okay, cool. And it plays around with your mind a lot, but it's absolutely hilarious. Like, it's a dark comedy. Okay, cool. So when you watch it, I'll
definitely watch it.
Yeah, check it out.
It's on Netflix?
It was in theaters, so I think it's still in theaters currently, so there's still a chance to see it while it's there.
So Fire Stick.
Yeah.
Illegally,
yes. No. Legal. Edit point. Sorry. But that was the episode of Therapy Out of Degree. Thank you, Giovanna, for coming on.
Thank you.
right.
Thank you, Val.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
We'll see you next week. Peace.
Bye.